Quick question. How much of you is actually you? Not a trick question. Stick with me. Right now, sitting inside your gut, there are trillions of living things that are not human. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, an entire ecosystem quietly running your digestive tract every day of your life. And nobody ever introduced you to it. For years, the popular claim was these microbes outnumber your cells 10 to 1. Total myth. Researchers recalculated it in 2016. The real ratio is close to even, roughly 1 microbial cell per human cell. You're not mostly microbe. You're about half. So where did that come from? You weren't born with it. Nobody handed you a starter kit. The story of how it gets built in the first couple years of life may be one of the most consequential things that's ever happened to you, and you don't remember any of it. In the womb, your gut was close to sterile. Then birth happened, and within hours, bacteria started colonizing it for the first time ever. Vaginal delivery hands a baby one starting community of microbes. C-section hands them a different one entirely, the ground floor of a system that'll influence you for decades. Then the part that genuinely stumped researchers. Breast milk contains hundreds of complex sugars a baby can't even digest. They pass straight through, looking pointless. Except they're not wasted. They're food for specific bacteria, mainly bifidobacterium. The mother's body is growing a designer meal for microbes that haven't even arrived yet. Meal prep for guests who aren't born yet. And it's not random. Those bacteria take over in a defined order tied to age, like the ecosystem is following a blueprint written for exactly this transition. Your microbiome, by the way, is the full genetic material of every microorganism in and on you. A second, much larger genetic library than your own, assembled fresh in your first years based on how you were born, what you ate, and what you were exposed to. Why would evolution build something this precise? Because what gets established in those first 1,000 days calibrates your entire body. Most of your immune tissue lives lining your gut, and it learns by getting exposed early and repeatedly to the microbes there, telling a harmless microbe from food from an actual threat. Disrupt that window with heavy early antibiotics, and some research links it to higher risk later of allergic and autoimmune conditions. Then there's a connection too strange to be real. Your gut is wired directly into your brain via the vagus nerve. A direct line to your brainstem, carrying signals both ways, constantly. Roughly 90% of your body's serotonin, the mood molecule, is made in the gut, not the brain. The working hypothesis. Your gut may be shaping your brain before your brain is even finished being built. Here's a study that made researchers sit up straight. Jeffrey Gordon's team took gut bacteria from human twins, one obese, one lean, and transplanted each into germ-free mice. Same food, same cage, same genetics. The only variable was whose bacteria they got. The mice given the obese twins' bacteria gained significantly more weight and fat. That's about as close as biology gets to proof your gut ecosystem can causally shape how your body stores energy. Not correlate. Cause. The influence even reaches your bones. Gut bacteria ferment fiber into compounds that affect calcium absorption and muscle preservation as you age. By age 2, a child's gut microbiome has largely finished its formative period. 2 years. That's the entire window this architecture gets built in. There's an even more dramatic proof from a hospital, not a lab. C. diff is a gut infection that can turn severe and antibiotic resistant. One of the most effective treatments found, transplant stool from a healthy donor directly into the patient's gut. Cure rates run well above 90%. Often beating antibiotics themselves. The single most powerful intervention doctors had wasn't a drug. It was restoring an ecosystem where a damaged one used to be. Here's where it gets uncomfortable for those of us well past 2. Modern life is quietly reshaping this system, and not for the better. Compared to hunter-gatherers like the Hadza tribe of Tanzania, industrialized populations carry noticeably less diverse gut microbiomes, processed diets, antibiotics, C-sections, and less breastfeeding, all narrowing an ecosystem that used to be richer. And lower gut diversity keeps showing up as a correlate across IBD, obesity, type 2 diabetes, allergies, and even some mental health conditions. Here's the good part, though. Unlike almost everything else locked in early in life, your gut microbiome is not frozen. It's remarkably responsive to what you do right now. A well-known 2014 study put people on radically different diets and found their gut microbiome shifted measurably within days, not years. And it's not just what's on your plate. One of the largest citizen science projects ever run on this topic, the American Gut Project, pulled in samples from tens of thousands of people and asked a simple question: what actually predicts a diverse, healthy-looking gut microbiome? Not organic versus non-organic. Not vegan versus omnivore. The single strongest predictor they found was the sheer number of different plant species someone ate in a given week. People eating 30 or more distinct types of plants, and that includes herbs, spices, nuts, and beans, not just kale and broccoli, had noticeably more diverse gut bacteria than people eating 10 or fewer, regardless of whether they ate meat at all. Variety, it turns out, might matter more than purity. Exercise gets in on this too, and in a way that surprised a lot of people. Researchers comparing elite athletes to sedentary people with similar diets found the athletes carried higher levels of bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids, the same fermentation byproducts tied earlier to bone density and lower inflammation. It's not fully settled whether the exercise is directly cultivating those bacteria or whether it's some downstream effect of fitness itself, but the correlation shows up again and again across multiple studies in multiple countries. Move your body, and your gut community appears to shift right along with it. Then there's the one nobody thinks to blame: sleep. Your gut bacteria actually run on something close to their own daily clock, rising and falling in population over a 24-hour cycle that lines up with your eating and sleeping patterns. Disrupt that rhythm. Hard enough shift work, chronic jet lag, the kind of schedule where your body genuinely doesn't know if it's Tuesday or Wednesday, and studies in both mice and humans show the microbiome's daily rhythm gets thrown off along with it, in ways that have been linked to worse blood sugar control and weight gain over time. Your gut bacteria, it seems, want you to keep a bedtime. There's also a stranger one: stress. Chronic psychological stress measurably changes gut bacteria composition, and it goes both directions. Stressed out mice given a healthy microbiome calm down, and mice given a stressed microbiome start acting anxious, even with nothing in their environment actually threatening them. Some researchers now half-jokingly call the gut a second brain for exactly this reason, and it's not entirely a joke. And on the flip side, plenty of things people assume are helping are actually working against all of it. Artificial sweeteners, for instance, have been shown in several studies to alter gut bacteria composition in ways that can worsen glucose tolerance, the exact opposite of what someone reaching for a diet version of something is usually going for. None of these individually will transform your health overnight. But stack together plant variety, movement, a halfway consistent sleep schedule, managing stress, and maybe reading the ingredients label a little more closely, they paint a pretty different picture than eat a probiotic yogurt and call it done. Your gut microbiome is less like a single dial you turn and more like a whole ecosystem responding to how you actually live every single day, whether you're paying attention to it or not. Worth being precise: probiotics live bacteria. Like yogurt or supplements tend to have modest, short-lived effects. Prebiotics are fiber and plant compounds that feed the bacteria already living in you, and feeding your existing ecosystem well matters more than importing new species. Less like restocking a store, more like keeping the staff you already have fed. You didn't get a vote in how your gut microbiome was built the first time, but you get a vote every single day now, so zoom out. You're not a human body carrying bacteria along for the ride like spare change in your pocket. You're a walking partnership, a human genome and a microbial genome that arrived together in your first days and have been negotiating terms ever since, shaping your immune system, whispering to your brain, deciding how strong your bones stay decades down the line. You've never met most of the organisms responsible, and they've been with you this entire time, which, if you think about it too hard at 2 a.m., is either the most beautiful thing you've ever heard or deeply, deeply invasive. No refunds, no eviction notice, they're on the lease for life. So here's what I'll leave you with. What's something you eat or do regularly that might be having a way bigger effect on you than you ever gave it credit for? Tell me in the comments. And if this changed how you think about what's actually running the show inside you, smash that like button, subscribe, and stick around your gut bacteria, and I would both really appreciate it.